hope you're doing really well. My name's Evelyn from An Empath's Guide Book Reviews and Writer's Corner, and today I'm going to be doing a book review of a book that I just finished reading and I really loved, and that is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. So I'd heard wonderful things about this, mostly from the booktube community, and I have to say it is one of the best books I've read lately, if not one of the best books I've ever read. So thank you to everyone who recommended this. It was a fantastic read, so it was really good. So this book is about a village that sits quite close to this dark enchanted wood, and the wood is basically evil and it corrupts people. So anyone who goes into the wood for whatever reason either comes back out possessed or they never come back out at all. And the story begins because there is a wizard called the Dragon, and he's a lord of these villages, and he basically protects the villagers from the dark power of the wood. And in exchange he comes and he takes a village girl, he picks one, and she has to be his servant in his isolated tower for 10 years. So I thought this premise was really fascinating and unique. The plot and the storyline kind of morphs and evolves continuously. There is just so much action and drama in this book. You will not be bored. There is always something happening. So the characters in this book are very believable and I thought really well executed. I really liked the main character, Agnieszka. She is just very true and very real to who she is. Like, she doesn't change that much throughout the novel, but I always liked her to begin with, and she's really assertive. Like, she knows what she wants and she just goes and gets it, and she's really true to her values. So I found her very believable and very likable. She's kind of like wild and messy, like she's a bit of a tomboy, and I really liked that about her. I also really liked her best friend Kasha, who is a very kind of steady, like warm character and also very strong. And another character that I personally liked, which I know a lot of people would probably disagree with me, but I really liked the character of the Dragon. I thought he was a really well portrayed character. He had so many layers, and I thought he was misunderstood personally, but he could be perceived in other ways, like as being not a very nice person. But I thought that the depth of creating this character who had so many different sides was done like really craftily, and the fact that there are people who like him, like myself, and people who hate him just shows that he's so like multi-layered, and it's hard to write a character that's that deep. So she's really brought him to life there, which I loved. And another theme or like vibe that was very strong was that it was like a modern fairy tale, and I really enjoy this because I love fairy tales. But the thing about fairy tales is that they can sometimes be a bit predictable, but this was such a big bonus of this book. It was so unpredictable, like you could never guess what was going to happen. And I love how the author has taken kind of standard conventions of fairy tales, or perhaps even tropes, and completely turned them upside down on their head and really subverted those expectations. Like, there are no damsels in distress in this book that are princesses. There's no kind of knight in shining armor. Like, everything's kind of up in the air, and I really liked that because it seemed really suited for a modern audience. Whereas sometimes when I watch older fairy tales or read them, I sometimes think like, oh, women would just never do that. Like, why are they so submissive? But you definitely don't get that in this book. So I really liked the mixing of the old and that kind of magical surrealist quality with the modern day reader. I thought that was really cool. The writing was also really beautiful. Like, it was just so easy to read. It flowed. The only kind of, not even a criticism, but comment I would have was around the 80% mark. There was a lot of backstory and explanation, and it happened in this kind of really surreal way. Like, you weren't quite sure if it was present day or old day, and I was a little bit confused at one point. And I think that happened just because there's so much mystery and intrigue created for the first 3/4 of the book, and she does that so well. Like, there's just so many questions left unanswered and you're just dying to know. There's so much left unexplained, and then there's one point where it's like you get a taste, but then it kind of all comes crashing down and it's just like, oh, what's going on? But to be fair, that only lasted for about, you know, maybe 20 pages or so, not more than that. So after that it was totally fine, and I really also enjoyed ultimately the way the book ended. Yeah, I really liked this, and if you're into fantasy and you're curious about magical realism, I think this is like a really good crossover book that might give you a taste of magical realism but not like completely pull you out of that magical world, which is just so great to be in. And I would recommend this book to anyone who loves fairy tales, to anyone who likes magical realism, and also anyone who really likes reading strong female protagonists and characters in general. And yeah, I give this book a 4.5 stars out of 5. Pick it up, it's really, really good. So that's probably the end of my book review. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. And if you have any recommendations for books that are like Uprooted, I'd really love to hear them down in the comments below, because I've just kind of started trying to read another book and just jumping around between 3 books, and nothing quite compares to this, so I'm getting really frustrated. So any recommendations that you have of like modern fairy tales written well would be so welcome. If you want to see more of this, feel free to give a like, and you can watch my other videos, and if you like them you could also subscribe. And that's it for now. I'll see you next time, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here for me to share my literary obsessions and loves with you. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Bye.